Alright guys, gals, friends, family, Steve Patton with General Patton Bushcraft back with you with another super exciting video. Today's video is Alone Season 9, Episode 1. And Episode 1 is titled Drop Shock. And that's exactly what it is for these 10 contestants. The shock of getting dropped off in that remote location is setting in. But Drop Shock starts out with a quote from Lao Tzu, and the quote is, "A journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step." Alright, this is drop-off day in Labrador, Canada. I'm just going to go down the list real quick of the contestants and how we see them. We first see Adam from Fayetteville, Arkansas. Then we see Terry from Homer, Alaska. Next up, Temujin from Montreal, Canada. Jesse from Pagosa Springs, Colorado. We see Jocks from Juneau, Alaska. Tom from Earlysville, Virginia. Igor from Bonneville, Utah. Juan Pablo from Guadalajara, Mexico. Benji from Bellevue, Idaho. And last, Carrie Lee from Sandpoint, Idaho. That's how they roll out the 10 to us. And the show starts with Carrie Lee, and we get to see her drop point. She's by a river. Now this is day 1, 8:47 a.m. She takes a deep breath and says her spot is incredible. We get to learn from the show that all sites provide the same essentials and are selected at random by the participants. That means they draw for sites, friends. Alright, Carrie Lee starts looking for a place to put up a tarp. We see a storm approaching, and she says she wants to get some tinder into her dry pocket. Labrador, friends, gets 60 inches of rain every year, and the 60-mile-per-hour winds change the weather very rapidly there, friends. Alright. Carrie Lee finds some dry fireweed. Fireweed seeds are good for tinder. And Carrie Lee has lots of dry dead wood in the area. And she's 57, friends. She says she doesn't feel old. Special note, friends. Season 4, Peter Brockdorf was the oldest ever on Alone at 61 years old. Carrie Lee's 57. And she gets her tarp set up and it starts to sprinkle. Alright, day 1, the show moves on. Day 1, 10:12 a.m. we get to see Benji's sweet sight. Thick cover with open bogs. These bogs are very common in Labrador. Alright, Benji feels he is in bear country. We'll keep Bo at him with all times. He looks for some he says the fishing looks to be real good in his area. He heads into the forest, finds some bunch berries, finds a squirrel, friends, gets a shot off, and he gets a squirrel. Alright. Day 1, at the end of day 1, well, not at the end, day 1, 12:41, 10 people still remain, and at 1:32 in the afternoon, we go over to see Jessie. Jessie messed up. She did a bunch of work but did not record. She didn't have her camera on. Okay? She says there that they are not surviving. They are doing primitive living. Scouts the area, finds a creek with a big old bear paw right in the mud, friends. Listen, special note. 6,000 to 10,000 bears roam freely in Labrador. We see Jessie get her tarp up. Okay, 10:47 p.m. Jessie hears a bear. We see Jessie in her sleeping bag. There's a bear right outside her shelter walking around. It's about 59 degrees, friends, on day 2, 10:24 a.m. And we go back to Carrie Lee, and wow, she shows us all of those red marks on her body from the horrific black flies. And we learned that those black flies need blood to help with their eggs. Tons of bites, very itchy. She scouts her site, follows an animal trail, finds a grouse, shoots, misses over the head, follows the grouse. She gets another shot off, friends. She shoots downhill and nails the grouse. Gets a grouse on day 2, Carrie Lee. All right, day 2, 2:49 p.m., we get to finally see Juan Pablo. 54 degrees. He's hiking his site and he hates it. It's so thick, he's falling down. Very hard to walk. Juan Pablo tells us that his mental perception is starting at a most miserable spot that he can and hoping that mentally everything would just get better from there. Not a bad strategy. All right. Juan Pablo finds some fresh bear scat. Then he finds a great spot for a permanent shelter. He tells us that he put on 60 pounds by drinking milk and olive oil. And we learned 12 ounces of olive oil is about 2,000 calories, friends. His plan A is to get a bear. He hears a squirrel, grabs his bow, pursues the squirrel, and he hears a big animal, but he doesn't see anything. All right, day 2, 10:48 now. 10 people still remain. Juan Pablo, we see him find a whole bunch of cans, a bunch of rusty cans, and he makes an incredible stove and big chimney. He takes his gators apart. There's some fire retardant material on the gators, come to find out. He surrounds that chimney going through his tarp with some fire retardant material. Incredible by Juan Pablo. Okay, day 3 now, 7:54 a.m. We see Jacques, and he's singing a little jingle in his sleeping bag. It sounds a lot like those birds chirping in the background, friends. We also see Jacques find some bear scat, but something a little bit better. He finds this old steel bear trap, my friends. Oh my goodness, how much better could it get for Jacques? Okay, day 4 now. 7:23 a.m., 10 people still remain, and we finally get to see Igor. We see him wake up with no shelter. He's just wrapped in his tarp, friends. He had to sleep on a flat rock because he's been hiking around his site for the last 4 days. No shelter yet. And we see Igor waking up. He said he didn't get a very good sleep. No shelter. Finally, we see him. He hikes all the way back after 4 days back to his drop-off point, and that's where he decides to build his shelter. We see him hunker down, and he starts boiling up some. Let me find the name. This bladderwrack seaweed. Bladderwrack. It's a type of seaweed. We see him cook up some of that and eat that. All right, day 4, 10:47. Back to Jacques now. We hear Jacques' stomach growling. Jacques shoots a squirrel. It's about 540 calories for a squirrel. Then he shoots a grouse. Day 4, Jacques has a squirrel and grouse combo, friends. Just a few feet from his shelter, he's got all this food. We see him put some grouse feathers in his hat. And then day 4, friends, 1:31, back to Benji. Benji shows us his body composition. Has some body fat. He's hoping to turn that into a lean, mean woodsman hunting and fishing machine, he tells us. He looks for some supplies. We see him building a fishing setup. He builds a nice Tenkara style fishing pole, friends. And we see him mess around and catch 12 small little brook trout in this hole right by his shelter. Okay, friends? Let me make sure I've covered everybody. That's it, friends. Super excited for episode 1, Drop Shock of season 9 alone. I want to thank you for stopping by the channel. Hit that subscribe button, please, before you leave my channel. Hit that bell icon. Do select all in that drop-down menu. Give me a like, friends. Leave me a comment. Let me know who's going to win. Who do you think's going to win this season? And as always, friends, God is good. God is great. I'll see you on the next video, because we got a date.